understanding of life, of humanity. Same thing happened to the native people. They had this spiritual social womb where the spirituality, native spirituality, was ruling and running for thousands and thousands of years. But as soon the European comes, it changed the economy and the social system, thereby the spiritual system that they had, just like a piece of computer, it was not compatible any longer to these changes that was happening in their life. So they had basically the same destiny of the people of England. These people, they mutated and they changed. Just like a child who's growing up, no longer he can wear the same dresses, the same shoes, the same pants, just difference. So it required a new understanding, a new spiritual understanding of the situations, okay? We can see this degradations and disintegrations of characters in the Christianity, which I call it churchianity right now. It showed itself up. I summarized it basically in three. The church lost, it seems, their ethical authority by number one, when they start to become racist. This racist remark that they had towards the black people in Africa, towards the other nations, and down up here in Canada towards the native people. One sign, like a dagger, went in the heart of the Christianity. The second thing that they started to do, they just did not understand Bible very well, and they were lazy intellectuals. They did not study this properly. As Bible says, prove everything and hold fast into the good. Immediately they started to fight with the scientific progress. All kind of things. If you read some of these things, you can't believe even the Reverend Jerry Falwell, what he says about the evolution and everything else. One of them was saying that, what is this evolution? A moon is just a lamp God has put it on the heaven for the people to see. The same thing cannot be seen in Jericho. So they had really, really huge drawback when they hit the science. They didn't know what to do. They totally lost their confidence. They did not work the religion to go along with the scientific progress. And people, they saw that, okay, if we want to go with the church, we have to get rid of all the scientific things that we have, which is so real to us, on account of some convoluted thought of certain people that they think they're Christians. So that was the second item that made to lose their authority. And then, of course, as you know, it started mostly with the Catholic Church. They got involved, this priest, in so many heinous acts, of immoral act, of a lot of bad things, including raping of the children. People just completely lost their things to them, you see. So, okay, Canadian, Anglo-Saxon here, they said, all right, we don't have, I guess, this Christianity, it's over. We rather have no religion than having the bad religion. So they thought they can bring science, which is manifestation, is really Hollywood, They thought they can do this. Instead of Jesus Christ, they create Batman and Superman and a Spider-Man, things that was not real, and put more and more people into the fantasies and cut them off more with the reality and the responsibility, especially carried in the family. There was no moral in the stories of this Batman, Superman, and all that junk that comes from Hollywood. Others in the East Bloc, they suggested, now we're going to go to communism, science, we're going to get rid of it. Religion is no good. And religion is thing of the past, as Schopenhauer says. We don't need these things. So, but both of these encounters and replacement of the religion actually failed. Communism got destroyed, and the people in the communist country are more religious than any other place. In the imperialistic system of the West, that they brought science and Hollywood and to replace Jesus Christ, they failed terribly too, because they just created thousands and thousands more religion and cult and all kind of things. So both of them, they died out and they couldn't do anything, because they found, many of them now, that need towards God is just like the salmon fish that has to go back to its origin. Man cannot be without God. It's an instinctive desires of man. Man has to know where is it coming from. In Africa and many countries that there has been no authentic religion and manifestation of God, man is starving to know an ideology. They created thousands of cults. I'm talking 10,000 years before. All of that shows that religion and needs towards the truth and God is an essential need. And if it is not there, things will go down. Karl Marx of the communism, they say that the whole thing starts with economy. If the economy changes, so is, the whole structure of the society will change and so on. So he thinks the formula of the revolution is based on the changes in the economy. But the truth is that this might be in a poor country, but the social structures and social justice is just as the basic things. People in Kuwait, they got tons of money. In Dubai, in Saudi Arabia. What are they suffering from if the economy is the only thing? They're suffering because there's no social justice. Women have no right. So social problem is just as instinct like the economy, beyond which is the spirituality. And spirituality, again, if mankind is starving and has no spiritual values, they will find an answer for themselves. What was the first time that man tried to become spiritual? They thought for their spirituality they have to sacrifice their own fellow human being for God. Whether Mayans and Aztecs or in Africa, my God, in India, everywhere. These things was there, that people were killing other people. In the mythology of Greek and Egyptians, they were killing another human being to sacrifice for their gods. So the first notion towards the spirituality was to sacrifice yourself for certain convoluted truth, for some imaginations. Guess what? In 21st century, if people are starving and they don't have the answer, it's just like failing in the game of the Nintendo. You're gonna have to go back again from the beginning. This is why Bin Laden is thinking he should kill people, just like the people in the past, because killing people for God makes God happy. Where does this man get his ideas? Not better than him is George Bush, who thinks he's connected to his higher father and God, and he thinks he has to kill people in Iraq to make Jesus Christ or God of Jesus happy. A convoluted idea. I've said that before. The same man in Norway, he has no answer. The spiritual dimension is dead and he has no answer. The first thing he thinks he has to do, he has to kill people. Like his ancestors some 10,000 years ago, that they were, sacrificing human life. So, not knowing what the spirituality is and not having a source, which I told you it can't be none of these groups I mentioned before, it made a three-dimensional man to live in a two-dimensional world. Economy and social, no spiritual. The two-dimensional man is, it starts to... So, what do people do when they're starved spiritually? Sexism. They try to replace it with the instinctive desires of sex. My God, you just know yourself how much these things has been manipulated, the mind of the people, something so small and has become so big. Sexual need, which is just like a sliver in the hand, a lock so huge that the man is without it seems dead all day, he can't sleep. But the solution is one little thing, somebody to comes and take this liver out, and then he's fine. But because there's no God, there's no control, you have to fill up the time. The other thing they do is gambling, for example. They just get into the gambling, a lot of that going on. Or in the entertainment business, people become couch potato. They come down and watch a TV. I call it Ayatul TV because it orders people what to do. Everything in TV, they tell you that. The criminal looks like that, the spiritual looks like that. Good is this, bad is that. It has become, the station where people received these things. These are at the basic level. Some people who are a little bit better, maybe middle class, they have some sort of economy, some incentive, and they put a different replacement for the religion. Some of them, they go after art. Oh my God, the arts in the 21st century is so much convoluted it is. It totally is the manifestation of a warped mind, starting from Picasso and Salvador Dali and all these in every area. Just you could see the manifestation of it, that the spirit is warped. It's just others, they go after environment. My favorite actor is Marlon Brando. He just thinks this is his religion. Religiously they go attach themselves to a trunk of the tree to die for the tree, and they make song even about that. Because again, God is missing, the spirituality is missing, they have to find a replacement. Yet others, you heard of that, they go to this new age. I've seen all kind of kids, they're going through all these objects, trying to go back to the Celtic system of, 10,000 years ago. It just shows the sign of a starvation. And my friend Jack added today that he says another religion that is in the West, and in Canada especially, is the sport, like hockey. Religiously, people are also getting there. So the art, environmentalism, and the New Age religion and this sport has trying to create a replacement for the religion that wasn't there. Now, other, as I said, we have to create a system that is a spiritual system that is compatible to our Canadian understanding, which is different from Europe, and the economical values and in the social values. Either we have to create one, in other words, you have to make a religion, which we have failed because no man-made religion can progress. Only what it does, it makes 1 million people to follow, another million, another one, another million. Then the whole society is segmented into many stratas of a different ideology. All of them are against each other. There's no unifications. Or we have to go and find out, maybe God was aware of this and he had already a solution in the plan, working. In my understanding, as a Canadian, I grew up in Iran. I essentially got my this new spirituality, I found it in Iran, of which immediately Persian, they kicked me right out of Iran. I said, you and the Baha'i faith that you believe doesn't belong to this country. Because Baha'i faith believes in equality of the right of man and women, and no mullah and ayatollah likes that. They said they do not want our women to be equal to us. We don't need this religion. Secondly, Baha'u'llah, the manifestation of God for this age, proposed something so divine that nobody had thought about it before. Just as the white man, Englishman, was trying to rebuild Canada and they introduced democracy in the social system, Baha'u'llah introduced democracy in the religion. He says no longer Pope or Ayatollah or Lama or this individual can handle this matter. Baha'is, they would have to elect their own priest in a city, in a country, and in a world by elections. Not one, but 9 people. So Baha'is, they don't vote for an individual, but they vote for a system elected of 9 people. The people who individually have no preference and right over others, but assembly as a whole acts like a priest in a city. And next year, there's new election going on, so there are new fresh people come up. I just one of it. But my goodness, if you put these things together, the Canadian value of the Anglo-Saxon that is gift given to us, and the Baha'i faith that comes from Iran, you see how the West and the East can go just like a soul and the body completely together. The affinities between the Baha'i faith and Canadianism are so huge, so amazingly huge. Even the divorce system in the Baha'i faith is just like Canadians. And yet Canadians have never heard about Baha'i faith. They just evolved historically into it. In Canada, if you want to get divorced, you have to wait a year. Then you get, start divorce. Baha'i faith is the same thing. In the Baha'i faith, you have to wait a year before you get divorced. Baha'is, they call it year of patience. You see? So, if you add these two together, if you study the principles of the Baha'i faith and the principles of the Canadian, so there's absolute affinity together. This has to be done and has to be understood deeply. Unless otherwise we understand it in Canada, we shall not be able to create a spiritual ruling and order within the family. The two Baha'is, husband and wife, when they marry, one of them could be Baha'i, one of them could not be Baha'i. That's okay. In this family, in a Baha'i family, all these issues of divorce has gone away. Because the two Baha'is, before they become Baha'i, they were already bear allegiance to Baha'u'llah, that they do not drink alcoholic drink. They do not do cocaine. They do not do drug. They do not do criminal things. They do not use prejudice against the other people. They understand the foundations of all the religions as one. They know man and women have equal rights. They know it's an obligatory matter that the children have to go to a school. So a lot of bases that can cause contention and divorce between the couple is already solved. You see, a process, a refining process is already made. When then the couple comes in that matrimonial system, they thrive. And their children, they grow fantastic. I'm advising and suggesting to my fellow Canadians, wherever they are, look into their yellow pages and find the Baha'i faith. And they go for themselves. The way the native spirituality teaches, just go and see it for yourself. Mix and mingle with the Baha'is a month or two, see what you think. Like any other product, you have to see it to believe it, to get it. If you felt that is totally what a Canadian wants, which I'm sure everyone would agree with me, then we have the problem solved. And this is the problem that has happened to the Anglo-Saxons. They have to create new individuals with a power, a spiritual power, just as their forefathers had it when they came here. But those days, they just was using the power of Christianity. Baha'u'llah, the manifestation of God, is nothing but continuations of the Christianity. Is the child born out of Christianity. Christ, Baha'u'llah are the same. He is the return of Christ. Christ always is there. It was there before, it will be forever. Not just in this planet, in every other planet. It just as Bible says, he will have a new name. It's not necessarily called Christ. It has a different name. As it says in the Bible, Son of Man have a new name written on the stone. Very well. Time is 11:21 and I'm going to conclude this discussion here at the city of Thunder Bay. God bless this city and the gracious host of this home. Thank you.